Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday to you, and thanks for joining us for this Thursday edition of our WLBT Plus Digital News Desk. I'm CJ LeMaster. I'm the lead investigative reporter for WLBT, and I'm your host for this WLBT Plus Digital News Desk update. It's a mouthful. More than a dozen of you watching right now on Facebook Live. We have more watching on our OTT platforms, also on YouTube and on the app as well. So thanks to everybody for joining us today. Just really want to have a couple of things that we want to actually get out there and let you know about. Some things that we're hopefully going to have more information on later in the day as well in our newscasts. So please, if you hear something today that kind of piques your interest, we're going to hope to have more information on our newscasts and, of course, on WLBT.com. I want to start first with a story that we first told you about yesterday. Jackson Mayor John Horn is trying to get more money from Washington to cover Jackson Water's operations and maintenance costs. Now, he told the city council on Tuesday that he was planning to meet with the state's congressional delegation about the utilities funding. The mayor is asking Congress to reallocate $54 million in state revolving funds so they can be used for water operations and maintenance. His visit comes just days after interim third-party water manager Ted Hennepin sounded the alarm on Jackson Water's finances, saying it was in danger of running out of money. It is something that we have covered extensively here on WLBT. Got a couple of people who are saying hello today, not to be outdone. Britt saying, happy Thursday, everyone. Hey, Britt, how are you doing? Faithful watcher. Hopefully you're getting the chance to watch us today and you're not on the road. We have some other stories that we want to talk to you about in terms of the capital city as well. You know, we just talked a little bit about Jackson Water, but we have some new information to let you know about too. City of Jackson has a new public works director from Mayor Horn. He nominated his pick to run the city's public works department. Now, again, this man will serve as an interim until the council, of course, confirms him or approves that. Man's name is Lorenzo Anderson. He's a former public works director for the city of Laurel. Under state statute, he can serve as interim director for up to 90 days while he awaits confirmation from the council. Now, it's been more than 2 years since the city's last public works director quit for the second time after being back on the job for just 1 week. You saw a glimpse of him there, Khalid Woods, who had served very briefly for the city of Jackson. Other news that we're talking about, of course, Walthall County can now move forward with repairs to the Salem Attendance Center. Now, if you may remember, an EF4 tornado hit Walthall County back in March, killing 4 people. And during a special meeting this week, the Walthall County School Board approved the bid from a construction company to begin repairs. This follows negotiations with insurance adjusters. The superintendent says this is a significant step in tornado recovery efforts for Salem Attendance Center. The district can now move forward with permanent repairs to some of the buildings and other structures there. One story we've been following very closely, of course, is this report coming out from State Auditor Shad White that was targeting 3 different nonprofits alleging questionable spending. One of those nonprofits, 100 Black Men of Jackson. Now we're hearing from that organization exclusively. Of course, that report that we told you about from the auditor's office questioned the spending habits of 100 Black Men and other organizations in Jackson. Now, this organization in particular was formed about 35 years ago. It received $40,000 in state funds to address health disparities among African American youth. The auditor's report says 100 Black Men of Jackson spent more than $6,000 on gift cards, headphones, speakers, and T-shirts. Well, the organization says it followed all the guidelines.
The state auditor has a job to do, and we have a job to do as a nonprofit organization. And we have been diligent about abiding by all of the rules and regulations that have been presented to us. And as far as we know, there's been no anything that we can that's been pointed to that we've done wrong.
Now, the money was given to the nonprofit by the Mississippi State Department of Health, which approved all of the expenses. Got a couple other people that are saying hello. Susie De La Riva from Hazelhurst. Hey, Susie, how are you doing? And Linda Joe is saying, wow, probably to that story we just talked about. And again, it's important to point out that in this auditor's report, none of the organizations that he named State Auditor Shad White admitted to us that he did not reach out to her. None of his investigators reached out to these organizations for comment or perspective. So hearing from this individual with 100 Black Men of Jackson is the first time that anybody has tried to get perspective from these organizations. And that's very important. Every time that we do an investigation, for example, we reach out to the people that may be believed to be responsible or may be at the center of that investigation. And we typically reach out to them well in advance to make sure that they have plenty of time to get back to us. It's just part of trying to make sure that we are offering that opportunity to them. If you were to put something out there without actually asking for the other side, it might look a certain way. And so we try to make sure that we don't do that. Anytime that we do a report, anytime that we do an investigation, we're reaching out to these people way ahead of time to make sure that everything is, that we're giving them the opportunity to be able to speak on these concerns that we found. Our last story today is kind of interesting. We're talking about mental health and substance abuse. Of course, these are at the forefront of conversations about the risks faced by college students. But researchers say there's actually another issue that is largely flying under the radar. Well, new research conducted by a team at Ole Miss finds a large percentage of college students at the state's public universities are participating in multiple forms of gambling. Some of that is mobile sports betting, though it's technically still illegal here in Mississippi. Researchers, say betting apps can further contribute to negative outcomes for students.
We're seeing that these technologies of how students are able to gamble are built to make them gamble more and to incentivize them to continue to gamble as they're inside these apps and websites. And we're also seeing that they're really inundated with a lot of advertising. So I think the majority of the students who did gamble were seeing ads for gambling and for gambling websites on a daily basis or several times a week.
There's an ongoing legislative debate about whether or not to legalize mobile sports betting. Right now, you can only place bets from your phone if you're on the premises of one of the state's casinos. Now, the Senate has expressed concerns about the potential impact on casino jobs, but House leaders have said that it's revenue that is being lost. Got a couple more comments here on our previous story regarding the auditor's investigation. Britt says, wouldn't it be wise if the auditor's office talked with them at least? Well, yeah, it would be. And again, we don't know why they didn't. We don't know how often this happens. But I can tell you, anytime there's any kind of investigation, it's smart to reach out to that person or that organization to kind of see what's going on. And one thing to kind of point out about, I guess, the way that we do the stuff here, if we get a complaint from somebody, for example, and we haven't actually investigated it, we're not just going to go right to that person who's the subject of the complaint and ask them about it, because we have to learn as much as we can. If we go up to somebody and we don't know much about it, they could very easily give us an answer that's actually incorrect. And so it helps us. It's actually beneficial to make sure that we do everything that we can to learn what's going on, investigate as much as we can, so that when we go to that person, we can ask intelligent questions and we can actually hold them accountable if what the answers they're giving are not accurate. And so it's very important for us to be able to do that. And that's why most of the time when we work on these stories and they take weeks or months, that one of the last steps is to reach out to the person or organization that's believed to be responsible or is implicated in what we're looking into, to make sure that we're reaching out to them and being fair. Monica Logan DeJean says, it looks like, or sounds like, their purchases were approved. Well, yeah, they were approved by the Department of Health. So it seems like there might be an issue there with the Department of Health as well. Lucille saying, happy Thursday to you. Hope you're having a great Thursday as well, Lucille. Hope everything's going well for you. I really appreciate the conversation with folks and getting a chance to talk about these different things. And anytime that we get the chance to kind of give viewers the chance to see what it is we do and how we kind of approach our stories, I think it adds a layer of transparency to everything. It's very important to me when we do these investigative reports that we are as transparent as we can be about the process, how we arrived at various things. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. We've talked about the Jackson Homicide Tracker on this Digital News Desk update before. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you how to get there if you're not quite sure how to get there. So let me punch this up very quickly. I don't know why. Okay, well, I guess we can't see it today. But suffice it to say, technology, folks, I'm not sure why it's not allowing me to actually look at this source, but that's okay. Um, we've got like a bunch of screens in front of me here, and so some of this stuff kind of works, sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay. But anyway, just to get back to what we're talking about, we have, even if you were to go and look at our homicide tracker right now, and I know you can't see it, but we actually have an option where you can actually see how we track those homicides, what that is, what's all involved in that process, for example, in a little section that's called, about the data. Because again, you can't just assume that people who are looking at this information know everything about it. For example, um, people ask me all the time, what's the difference between homicide and murder? Well, there is a big difference, actually. Homicide is one person killing another, but that's regardless of intent. Murder implies intent. So if you have a justifiable homicide, somebody breaks into your house, you're fearful for your life, you shoot and kill them. If that's considered justifiable, you still killed them, but it wasn't murder because you didn't intend, you didn't have a premeditated intent to kill them. Officer involved deaths also can be considered this, though. At the same time, some of those, as you know, we have one that's going to be going forward to trial in November involving an officer involved shooting that killed Jalen Lewis in 2022 in Jackson and 2 Capitol police officers. In that case, the grand jury returned an indictment for manslaughter in those cases. So there is a determination, at least from the grand jury, that there was intent there. A jury will have to decide whether or not that is the case once this goes to trial. So again, there's a lot of little specifics and particulars in there that we have to kind of weed through and make sure that we keep up with. And so if you hear somebody say murders versus homicides, there is definitely a difference there. So it's just a little bit of detail and everything. But listen, we really appreciate everybody watching today. We didn't have a whole lot of stories to share at this point, but certainly if there's anything that you think we need to be taking a look at or looking into, even after this digital news desk update is over, you can go to Facebook, leave us a comment on YouTube, get back with us, let us know kind of what you would like to see, or let us know some things that you're interested in, and we can certainly can try and talk about that with you, and help answer questions. That's 90% of why we're here, is to help everybody in Mississippi and even outside the state, but primarily those of you who live in central Mississippi, because this stuff affects you. We want to be able to answer questions, help you get answers, and help you get what's most important out of your day in terms of all this news that's going all the way around us. So anyway, before we let you go, I'm going to show you a word from our sponsor, Jackson Water. But we hope to see you back here tomorrow. For everyone here at WLBT, I'm CJ LeMaster, your lead investigative reporter and your host for this digital news desk update. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
From Jackson Water, is it okay to pour fats, oils, and greases down the drain if I run hot water?
No!
What if I run the garbage disposal?
No!
How about if I use dish soap at the same time?
No!
Instead, hang on to a few containers to store and toss old cooking fat and grease once you're done. Jackson Water. Water for all the time.